I'm Dr. Jonathan Fisher, cardiologist, mindfulness teacher, author, and organizational well-being leader for a healthcare system. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you what I like to think of as resilience across the 4 dimensions of the human heart. Who am I, and why am I here talking about this particular subject? I've been a doctor now for over 30 years, and they haven't all been easy years. I was taught about how the heart beats and how it works and how it fits in with the rest of the body. I was taught how humans heal, or so I thought, until I realized that my own anxiety, my own depression, which I was hiding from others, made it such that I had a hard time even connecting with those that I was supposed to be helping. So I had to find a better way. I remember since I was a boy, part of my own path to success, to excelling in school and getting into medical school, was I had this voice, this inner voice that was always there to kind of correct me. And at some point the voice became rather harsh and unkind. And rather than being a friend, that voice would tell me all the things I was doing wrong, all the ways that I was showing up and as a phony in a sense. And I felt a strong need in my own family to appear like I had everything together. I'm very lucky that my dad was the town doctor and my mom was a physicist, and I'm the youngest of 7 children, and every one of them became a doctor like our father. Now that was a wonderful childhood, and on the other side, it created in me a sense that I had to be perfect. I could never make a mistake, and it led to this sense of disconnection between who I felt myself to be on the inside and what other people were perhaps seeing on the outside. And I was really ashamed of that. And later on in life, when I started to learn about what shame was, it literally comes from the word skem, which means to cover or to try to cover up ourselves, as if there's a part of ourselves that we don't want others to see. And that's a natural part of those of us who are perfectionists and people pleasers and trying to look the part, because we are so aware of that disconnection. Combining that with that harsh inner critic, I carried that with me through medical school into a career where I realized I was walking into a system of healthcare that didn't seem to really care about how well and healthy the doctors and the nurses and the APPs were. And so I, like so many, eventually burned out. I was like going through the motions, like a walking zombie, going into clinic, doing my best to give good care to 3,000 patients every single year. And at the same time, my own heart was suffering. It was breaking in many ways. And eventually, on top of that, I experienced grief. My best friend, my sister Andrea, she had taught me the one remedy to all of my suffering so many years ago, and I didn't realize it at the time. She said, "Jonathan, can you just be kind to yourself?" So long before I studied Sharon Salzberg's teachings and Kristen Neff's teachings and Christopher Germer's teachings, my sister Andrea taught me the power of self-compassion. And sadly, as a radiologist herself who developed some blurring of her vision, she was presented with her own brain scans, and she found herself to have a tumor in the center of her brain that could not be operated on. And so I knew I would be losing my sister, and we worked through years. She went through radiation and chemotherapy, and all the while I wanted to be there with her and also with my new family and also with my thousands of patients, and life became too much. And it was at that breaking point that I realized there had to be a path for me towards resilience. Because what I thought was resilience, in medicine we're taught that if you can tough it out and make it through the day and make it through the week, overnight calls and emergencies and life and death, if you can make it through that, then you are resilient. And I really started to despise that definition of resilience. I realized that there's so much more to life than just making it through. And how we do anything is how we do everything. And myself and so many of our colleagues and so many of us are going through our days just surviving, just getting through, getting to the next day off or the next vacation or the next sunrise. And so I began a quest, personal research, and scientific research beyond the physical heart, which is what my official job was. And that quest led me towards spiritual practices, retreats in silence and longer duration, and also reading thousands of scientific papers on how our heart and mind are connected within ourselves and also between us.